if you or your skater are new to figure skating, or maybe you skated a long time ago and now you have a child that's interested in doing it, or you want to return to the sport, you might have a lot of questions. My name is Amy, and I'm a PSA ranked and rated figure skating coach. I'm also an ISSA certified elite trainer, precision nutrition coach, and youth fitness specialist. I skated as a child, and then after a long absence, I returned to the sport at the age of 40 and started competing as an adult. And I love figure skating because it's the only sport that has such a unique combination of athleticism and artistry. Figure skating requires discipline, perseverance, resilience, and concentration. All of these things can help you well beyond the sport of skating. Figure skating can also provide you with many wonderful experiences and lifelong friends too. And there's just nothing like stroking around a cool rink with the wind on your face, especially in the summer. It's better than going to a pool. In this video, I'm going to provide you with essential information that will allow you or your skater to fully enjoy the sport of figure skating. I'll answer many frequently asked questions and provide you with working knowledge of the sport. Let's begin with, where do you start? The very first thing you need to do is you need to find a rink in your area. In my area, we're pretty fortunate. I have a dozen or so rinks, all within pretty close driving distance to me. If you're like me and you have several rinks in your area, how do you choose the best one? You can start with learntosskateusa.com. Just click on Find a Program and enter your zip code. A list of rinks in your area will appear that participate in the Learn to Skate USA program. Learn to Skate is fully supported by US Figure Skating, as well as USA Hockey and US Speed Skating, with support from the Special Olympics, as well as the Professional Skaters Association, or PSA, and the US Ice Rink Association too. Learn to Skate USA is recognized as the world's best skating program. The best thing to do is to call or email the skating director at the rinks that you're thinking of going to. Ask them questions about their professional staff who teach the Learn to Skate group lessons. Because group lessons are how most skaters start off and try the sport, and that private booster lessons are available. These are great if you have a skater that's struggling with a certain element in the group class, and they can do a booster lesson to improve their performance in that element. I have a whole video on how to prepare for group lessons, and there's a link to that in the description down below. Aside from booster lessons here or there, you may decide that you or your skater wants a more private experience, one-on-one with a coach through private lessons. And I'm frequently asked what level a skater should switch to private lessons. And honestly, there's no correct answer here. Every skater is unique and learns differently. Some skaters actually decide not to take group lessons at all and just begin with private lessons. And that's completely okay too. Other skaters decide to take private lessons when they're looking for extra help or are looking to participate in a rink show or basic skills competition. So if your skater is looking to compete at any level, they need a private lesson coach. Otherwise, usually between basic 3 and the freestyle levels is when it's a good idea to start taking private lessons. Okay, so how do you find the right coach? One of the benefits of group lessons is that you get to work with a lot of different coaches. You'll usually have a different coach for each level as you progress through the Learn to Skate USA curriculum. If there was a coach that you or your skater liked best or learned a lot from, that may be somebody you want to consider as your private lesson coach. But if you're underwhelmed by the coaches that you've had in your group lessons, or you haven't taken group lessons, you should probably check with the rink skating director. They can often help you find the right coach. And some rinks have a team coaching environment where all the coaches work together. You can also ask parents of skaters for their recommendations. And while you want to feel comfortable with the coach, look for a coach that's not just a member of US Figure Skating, but is also a member of the PSA, the Professional Skaters Association, and has been rated and ranked. A coach is awarded a rating when they've passed an oral examination with a panel of 3 master-rated coaches. Ratings exam will cover teaching philosophies and specific skating techniques. To maintain their rating, a coach has to continue their membership with the PSA and meet continuing education requirements. In addition to ratings, PSA rankings are a distinguished induction based on a lifetime of achievement. Ratings acknowledge the career coaching record of a professional, established only by the performance of the skaters under their direction.
Hi, my name is Peyton, and I am testing the pre-preliminary moves.
A coach needs to be rated to receive a ranking. These factors are really good indicators of a coach's professionalism. You can also always start with a coach on a trial basis, so that you're not committed to one coach before you're ready. Of course, you are free to change coaches at any time, but the expectation is often that a skater would stay with a coach until there's a conversation that they want to make a change. So communicating with the coach that you are trying out coaches is pretty essential so that no one's feelings are hurt. So what's the difference between group and private lessons? In a private lesson, the coach can focus directly on the skater, their unique needs.
Each push from that inside, good, much better.
And work on skills beyond the Learn to Skate USA curriculum. In private lessons, coaches often start to introduce moves in the field. And this is because to advance as a competitive or testing skater, you're required to pass certain tests. And if you're competing, the level that you're eligible to compete at is determined by which tests you've passed. I did a whole video on moves in the field test. In that video, I go over my skater Peyton's actual virtual test. So I won't go into too much detail here on this. There's a link to that other video in the description down below. Now, once you've started private lessons, how often should you take them? This really depends on the skater's goals. And your coach can provide you with a plan based on those goals. At the minimum and in general, to get the most out of your private lessons, you should look to take them at least twice a week. And this is because, according to the International Sports Sciences Association, training a major muscle group or movement pattern twice a week is the recommended minimum. But if you can only manage one lesson a week, you will still benefit. How often should you practice? I usually recommend that you practice just as much as you take private lessons. In other words, if you have 2 private lessons a week, then you should practice for another 2 sessions a week. When skaters begin learning jumps and spins, it's a good idea to start skating 4 to 6 times a week with the appropriate amount of private lessons. But every skater is different, and you should always speak with your coach to determine the best plan for you and your skater. Above all, remember the number one reason to get involved in any sport, including figure skating, is to have fun. You'll usually know when to increase the amount of practice time because you or your skater will actually want to skate. They'll look forward to it and they'll ask to go. But again, always speak with your coach before making any changes to your skater's schedule. It's wise for parents to avoid the temptation to push a young skater too hard too fast. And for adult skaters, it's wise not to push yourself too fast. Good coaches and wise parents realize that a solid foundation is critical to build new skating skills with good technique. Proper skill progression must be used to achieve success. Skaters may struggle with different skills for a variety of reasons, but each skill builds on another, and higher level elements are comprised of the basic building blocks of the lower levels. If there's a break in the chain of skill development, a skater's progress can really suffer. If you keep trying to do an element and you don't have the skills in place, you're likely to get frustrated because of lack of success. So when a skater is struggling with a higher level element, a coach will often go back to a lower level element to improve the building blocks, rather than repeating the desired skill over and over again without doing that. For example, say a skater is struggling with an element such as forward crossovers. In that case, they may not be holding proper forward edges or may not have a steady 1-foot glide. And those skills are necessary to correctly execute forward crossovers. So improving the earlier skills will help ensure success for the desired skill. And what this boils down to is a lot of repetition. Sometimes a skater will want to work on, say, a waltz jump before a skater has their backward edges in place. And while I know it's fun for a skater to learn all the tricks, like jumps, as a coach, I know a skater is going to have a hard time if they can't hold their backward outside edge. And this often takes some explanation about skill progression. So as a parent, what is the best way you can support your skater? The best thing you can do is to provide them with a positive environment to encourage your skater to continue in the sport. Your skater should really enjoy the learning process so they can develop a positive self-image. And parents can periodically attend practice sessions, but keep in mind, and I know this is hard to hear, sometimes skaters perform better when you're not watching. It's true. So you don't have to, and you probably shouldn't attend every practice. Sometimes maybe you can attend a practice, but where they can't see you, or maybe they don't know you're in the building. You definitely should never sideline coach your skater by giving them instructions from the boards or the rink door. That kind of behavior is distracting not only to your skater, but to every skater on the ice, as well as coaches. And for this reason, a lot of rinks actually have rules against parents coaching rinkside. Also, give the skater some freedom to establish their own goals with the coach. And be mindful of imposing your own goals and expectations on your skater. I know I'm a coach saying this, but honestly, it's best to let the coach do the coaching and you do the parenting, especially if you've never skated. I've seen parents give their child instructions that, while have been well-meaning, confuse the skater. This is because sometimes it can be misinterpreted by the skater or maybe slightly different from the instructions that the coach has given them. Coaches have experience coaching many different kinds of skaters. Remember, all kids are different, and the best coaches know different ways to coach different people. This is part of their expertise. So again, it's best to just let the coach do the coaching. As a parent, you can give them positive reinforcement. Now, no one likes to make mistakes, but mistakes are a necessary part of learning. So always point out what your skater is doing well and encourage their efforts, even when there's a setback. As a parent, you can serve as a role model. Your attitude is often emulated by your skater. So it's important to demonstrate good sportsmanship towards coaches, officials, other skaters, and always have a positive attitude. What equipment do you need? In short, you need skates, that's boots and blades, a skate bag, hard guards and soakers, a towel to wipe the blades off with, properly fitted clothing, skating socks, gloves, and when you're starting out, a helmet. I have other videos on equipment, so I won't spend a whole lot of time on this here. There's a link to my other videos in the description down below. Another question I'm often asked is, what is all this fuss about off-ice training? Why is it necessary? Well, at some point, your coach will probably recommend off-ice training for your skater. And at the very least, an off-ice warm-up and cool-down. Actually, all skaters, no matter what their level, should always be warming up and cooling down off the ice. It may seem weird, but you have to train your body to skate. This helps to avoid injuries. Off-ice training can also help to develop and improve the skills that are necessary for skating. And while many coaches will offer off-ice training and strength and conditioning, it's always best to work with a certified trainer in your area that has knowledge of the sport of figure skating. Many figure skating coaches do have the best intentions in offering skaters off-ice training. But off-ice training is a very different skill set from on-ice training. I say this because I am certified in personal training, youth fitness, and I'm a member of the National Strength and Conditioning Association and participate in the Figure Skating Special Interest Group. Working with a coach that is not certified in off-ice training can actually do more harm than good. Believe me, I've seen it. And that's another topic that I have a whole video about. There's a link to that too in the description down below. I hope you found this video helpful. If so, please give it a like and share it with your friends and on social media too. And I post at least 3 videos a week. So if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button and tap the bell so that you never miss a video. This is Amy. Thank you for watching. I will see you real soon. Bye.